We're here on 1113 US 11 in Kirkwood, New York, here with Sonny and Dee. Sonny Spira, myself, Dan Tortora, a product of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we're here tonight with a very special twofer as we have Windsor as well as Chenango Forks. And because we have the players from both teams here, we have the coaches who are also brothers. We have Tim Hogan here, the head coach of Windsor, and we have Dave Hogan here, the head coach of Chenango Forks. Gentlemen, welcome. You have a mic to share, so just like back at home, you have to share again. So welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Very good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to have you. Tim, I'm going to start with you since you have the microphone and since your student athletes just went. How do you think they did? What are your thoughts on your student athletes?
Well, I keep hearing the word brotherhood.
Yeah.
And, you know, as corny as that may sound, they're great leaders. There was 14 of them, and, you know, they always had something to say, and it always brought everybody together. And, you know, I actually had a funny thing was I actually had a substitute teacher say, and these guys already know this, we have freshmen that these guys will hang out with on our JV team. That's huge. You don't see that all the time. And so it's just one big team, JV, varsity, doesn't matter who, and they'll actually hang out, you know, in the locker room, away from school, whatever. It's really cool.
It seems like they have a close relationship with you. What can you say about that relationship that you've worked to build with your players?
Well, thanks to my niece, our niece, Kaylee, she called me Uncle Timmy 24/7. So it starts wearing off, and it, you know, it's just like, you know, I got to calm it down a little bit here and there, but, you know, it's kind of funny, you know, but when push comes to shove, these guys, they'll do anything for me. I'll do anything for them. So, but, you know, the whole atmosphere this year was quite different from the year before, just based on we were so young. And that's what they alluded to, the fact we had 5 freshmen starting on defense last year. And, you know, going 0-6 or whatever we went to turn it around and play the way we did this year was huge, and it says a lot about the 14 guys.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in a little bit here on the broadcast as well. But, Dave, I want to go to you for a second, and welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on your sectional championship.
Thank you very much.
And excited about what's to come. Just for you, I mean, success when it comes to Chenango Forks, I mean, we're used to it. I'm used to seeing success. You know, how do you manage that? How do you manage success knowing that the bar is set very high at Chenango Forks?
Well, it's not always easy, but or always hard. But with the kids that we have, and you're going to meet them pretty soon. You know, some of our leaders. We are very fortunate to have great kids, great families year after year. We always talk about we're spoiled because we have kids that you know, that buy into, you know, to what we're talking about at a very young age, and the off season is all business and stuff, and year after year, it just at least recently it's been good, and that's that, you know, we're just very fortunate to have that.
Corralling them together, do you have to do a lot of that, or do you feel like your student athletes kind of know what they need to do, and as much as they can maybe joke around off the field, that when it comes to practice, it comes to games, it comes to, you know, just taking care of the classroom and whatnot, are they their own leaders in their own life, so to speak?
Absolutely, and it's like that way every year. This year is no different. We have some of the best leaders all the time, year after year. Coaches don't have to worry about that. Very rarely will we have to give them direction on something if we think they're going down the wrong path. So very fortunate that way.
Well, since we got the brothers up, I got to talk about brothers now. So let's see. Who is the older?
Yeah, right.
That didn't take about 2 seconds. All right. So
he's lying to you. So.
okay. So
Who's better looking?
okay. So growing up, what was it like in your household?
Well, there was 6 of us, so there's 6 kids. So we always used to say Dave would beat me up, then I would go after Matt because I couldn't beat Dave up, and Matt would go after Jeffrey, and Jeffrey turned out to be the toughest, so that was an ongoing joke. But man, you know, I couldn't ask for, you know, siblings. They're all great, you know. And we always make a joke about we're all in education, you know, because Jeffrey's a principal, Jenny's into education in Virginia, Kim's a teacher, and then Matt has his own pool store and he makes more money than all of us, so it's an ongoing joke with us. So
Okay, next I'm going to ask Dave. So being the older brother, What what did you see in your younger brother in terms of football and future coaching and future teaching of the game?
Well, our father was he was a JV coach at North High Stadium, and the two of us were the Water Boys. That's I can still think of a lot of fond memories back then. That was the old North High Stadium.
Yeah, I sure do.
It was a lot of fun. We went Saturday mornings and we had a lot of fun. I remember running out, going to get water bottles. I remember this one guy said, "Hey, Hogan, catch it." They threw all the water at us and just spilled all over us. We just loved it. We ate that stuff up. But they kind of tucked us under their wing too. My father's players actually did, and I think that's why it's in our blood. Well, certainly why it's in my blood. It was just sports in general. Our father was a phys ed teacher, and I think that's. That was great. That was great as well. But we both at a very young age knew that we wanted to teach and coach, and that's basically what we do. And that's obviously what we do. But that we certainly both love it.
How did you guys settle your disputes in the house? You two specifically.
At what age?
Let's say
You
teenager.
settle it the same way now. Is the question.
Let's go teenager. Let's say 13.
Teenager.
Yeah.
We were fine. I don't really. I think at a very young age, I think maybe immature and stuff like that. But I think at that age, I don't think we were.
No?
No.
No wiffle ball bat across the back of the head. Those
Not
wooden
too
spoon
much.
out of the Jordan. None of that stuff.
No,
Okay.
I had to break him up with his other brothers, but a little bit. But no.
All right, Dan.
For you both being in the same profession and being able to see this world and help to mold young minds and obviously want to see an evolution of your team, a progression of your team, there's similarities that you guys get to have all the time. So when there is a conversation, a fireside chat, when you have an hour or two to kind of sit and talk, Dave, what do you talk with Tim about when it comes to the game?
Well, especially this time of year, it's usually football, and we haven't played each other in a couple of years anyway. But what's interesting, I say this all the time. We talk to each other. We talk to each other about the opponent. Hey, what do you think about this? You might share the film and say, hey, what do you think about this? You think this play will work? Think this play will work? But then if we play each other, we don't talk at all that week. So. And then, of course, when you finally get on the field, it's like you kind of forget that you're playing each other. But and then afterward, we have lots to talk about, and it's kind of neat that way.
Tim, what would you say about it? What are the conversations like when you get to? Are you ever breaking something? Are you ever on like a Sunday watching the NFL breaking something down together? I mean, do you get into kind of that coaching mind, sitting with each other?
Well, I call them all the time and ask them, how do you block that? They're in a 5-2. How do you block the midline when you're doing that? What about the veer? What about, and I just pick his brain all the time. And I feel like I'm Eli picking, his brother's brain all the time. And, people don't realize that, they love to sit around and pick on Chenango Valley and say, Chenango Valley hasn't beaten Forks in how many years? Well, who has? You know what I mean? In our section, who has? You know what I mean? I could only name like 3 or 4 teams in the whole section, that have done that. So if I want answers, I'm going to go to people that know it,
Yeah.
and they know what they're doing, Not he says the kids, but I believe that the coaches are, obviously know what they're doing, and they have great kids year after year after year, like he said. So I do pick his brain more than he picks mine. Did ask me about some passing stuff before because he was a quarterback, I was a running back. He's asking me about passing stuff. That doesn't make sense. But.
And you're talking about the fact that your brother Dave was a quarterback, you were a running back. Go back to those days. What are your fondest memories of playing running back?
Well, that's what I always wanted to try to run people over. I was not fast. I always tell these guys I would go 5 flat downhill at 30 yards. So that's not a going joke. And I remember watching Dave play all the time. He was a quarterback, he could run the ball and throw the ball, type of stuff. If I pick up a ball and try to throw it, I have to throw it underhand anymore because it feels like I'm going to dislocate my shoulder if I try to throw it overhand. So I can't even do that anymore. But he was a dual player. I was just a running back that kind of ran straight ahead.
Do you have a fond memory though? Do you have something that sticks out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I played with good teams. Dan Hodak was our head coach, and Dave played for Dan and Billy Condon, and you know, they were good teams back then. I mean, I remember them losing like 1 or 2 games, and you know, when I was a junior, I think we lost 2 games. Senior year, I think we lost 3 games. So there wasn't a lot of losses coming through all the way, even back in the mid '80s. So there was great memories, you know, all the way up through, and you know, some of my best friends still to this day are kids that I played football with back then.
Which is awesome, and it's incredible the family that football builds. Before we go back to Sonny here, Dave, I want to get your fondest memory of playing quarterback, and as your brother, seemingly, does he give you as many compliments off the air as he has on the air?
Not a chance.
Okay. So do you have a
That's the way it is, though, right?
Yeah, it got to look good for the camera, right? You know.
Sure.
So what are your fond memories of playing quarterback?
Actually, I enjoyed throwing the ball, but we certainly ran the ball more than we threw the ball. But if I were a head coach early on, I would have wanted to throw the ball a lot more than we do now. But as it evolved, I enjoyed the line more than anything else. I enjoy watching linemen on offense and defense play, and it's kind of evolved into I kind of like running first. I like that piece of it. And it's in terms of memories, yeah. I mean, some of my best friends are the kids I played sports with, and they still are to this day. And along with my obviously my brothers who I love very much, and we all played sports, and it's that brotherhood that the kids from Windsor just talked about. It's that same thing, and at Forks we talk about it as well.
I love the fact that I'm sitting with a former quarterback saying, I like running the ball more now. I like that. Go ahead, Sonny.
All right, Dave, I just want to ask you a couple questions. In regards to your team and the culture that Dan alluded to, and listening to the young men from Windsor talk about their leadership and then it going down, it's culture. And talk about when you stepped into the head coaching role and the culture that was there and or the culture that you wanted to build. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, the culture that was, I was an assistant for, maybe 12, 13 years like that. At Chenango Forks at the varsity level,
Right.
And we were pretty successful then too. Obviously,
Yes, you were.
We had 2 state championships, and so many sectional championships. So really, it was just kind of keeping it going, and we've tweaked some things along the way, but we didn't make a lot of changes because we had, like I said, we had a lot of success even going forward. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of stress on the kids because there's a lot of pressure on the kids year after year because it's an expectation. But at the same time, I think our kids and coaches handle that very well. It's challenging and it motivates you, to stay ahead of the curve, and you want to always, we talk about lifelong learners, and our coaches have to. It starts with the coaches. We have to be like that. So we're always going to clinics. We're always trying to learn, doing the extra stuff. And our kids, fortunately, are doing the same thing. It's always we're always striving. We talk about you're never staying the same. Mm-hmm. You're either growing or you're dying. You're either getting better, or you're getting worse, and we're always talking about improving. It's we try to keep it real simple, and our kids have always bought into that. And fortunately, it's worked out for us.
So I've been following you guys for a long time, and I remember when that transition happened. So talk about very early on, because it had to be immense pressure with the level and the expectations that were set for your predecessor. And then now, that first year, was there a lot of, I'm not sure, did you have questions? Did people in the community was there starting to be like, well, let's feel this guy out. Now he's from the seat next to the seat to the seat. How did he handle, talk a little bit about how that transition happened for you.
I remember it being there was questions for sure, mm-hmm. and I think early on, I think we were 7-2 or something like that. We didn't go to the sectional finals and things the first time in a long time. So of course there's questions, and I had some questions, but mm-hmm. We were positive, and I say we because our staff was in. We always talked about the staff. It's not just the head guy or whatever. We stayed positive, and I think with a few years, I think we got it back to where we wanted, and just kind of kept growing from there.
Tim, how about yourself? When did you step into that head coaching role?
Yeah, I want to say 16, 17 years ago. this is my 30th year, so I was an assistant under Dan as well for, that 10, 12 year span. So I learned a lot from him, and like Dave said, and learned a lot from my dad as well.
Yeah, it's just not common that much anymore. People don't want to work and pay their dues. They just think they expect it like right away. So good for both of you. So in let's go back and forth with what you guys were talking about earlier and the sharing or the brain picking. What are some of the things that you really want to get information from your big brother on? What are some of the big points? Like you talked about a 5-2 and blocking. What are some of the, like, you don't have to give me game plans, but just give me some of the things that you really kind of lean on him.
Tell us
Some
everything you're
information.
planning to do.
Well, no, there's a ton of stuff. Like everything used to be an odd front defense. That's what we grew up on it, And then, we really started leaning towards an even front defense. When I look over at Forks and they're running a even front defense, we're going to run an even front defense, you know what I mean? And we got lucky, and we had a guy from Maine Enwell come over for a little while, Ben Amorese, and he actually brought that over to us. And he's a great coach. I'm sad to see him go, and he helped us out a ton.
He's a great kid.
Once we got that in, these guys know the 4-2 better than we're ever going to know the 5-2 again.
Right.
But even like offensively, like I was telling you, they run the ball a lot, and they run the ball well. And like we went to the game the other night, and it's just grind them out, and then they hit them with the big runs there. And it's tough to stop, and especially when you play defense the way they do.
One of the things that when we talked to the Maine Enwell group early on in the year, they talked about when they played Forks that Forks was so disciplined in their defense and their reads. So for their offense, they really you had to be like, you just raise the bar for your opponents to not make the wrong read, get in the wrong gap, or what have you. So talk about how you try to what do you do to instill some of those things, the fundamentals and start with you, Tim, and then let's hear what Dave said.
That's the thing. Like we always like, I'll never forget this year when we were playing Owego. It's like bend don't break, and we really did. We wouldn't break. And I always say this about Forks, they won't even bend. And it's like you got to do your homework just to try to find the certain plays that you think that are going to actually happen for you. And, hopefully they go well. And Dave obviously forgot that we played them last year when he said we hadn't played for a while, so he was being nice to us, I think. And,
You did whisper that to me, but you were like, yeah, we played last year.
You try to hit a big play, and if you don't get the big play, you're not just going to go pound the thing down the field. It just doesn't happen.
Okay. Dave, how about yourself? What are some of the things that you try to, like that fundamentally sound play, which they referenced, playing against? What are some of the things you try to do to get that to be your calling card?
Well, we just stress, perfect plays, perfect drills, and we want to get better every single time we're doing a little drill. We talk about the little things becoming big things, and just stressing those things. We talk about running through the line in sprints. Talk about starting behind the line in sprints. Talk about going to the whistle every time. We talk about effort all the time, and it's glaring to us if we're not firing off the ball. It's not, and it's something that kids really don't understand. They think that they're giving effort. They think they're trying their hardest, but we're constantly on them all the time. It's the same thing with you're either getting better or you're getting worse, and we constantly want them to feel uncomfortable, and you're just constantly striving. Just as simple getting in the stance and getting off the ball. Get off the ball faster than anybody else, and then with that step, did you step with the left foot? Did you step with the right foot? Did you step lateral? How big was it? 6 inches? Was it 8 inches? Those little things are so important. People just ignore them, and people think we're crazy, but we'll watch something. I drive my kids nuts. I rewind a play, and they're going, "Oh, Dad, would you just watch the darn game?" And I'm rewinding it like 5 or 6 or 7 times, and just looking at maybe just one little technicality, because I think that stuff is so important.
That's great. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, now going forward, who do you guys have coming up? Who do you have coming up?
Skinny Atlas.
Skinny Atlas, that game's in Vessel?
Yeah.
Right? What do you know about your opponents, and what are some of the things you're looking to do?
They're pretty good. They're
Yeah.
very good. They're a lot like Waverly. I think they got a nice. They have a running back that's runs pretty hard. They have a quarterback that's tough. He runs and throws the ball. They got some receivers that they can that they can hit. One in particular. On defense, I think they're pretty talented on defense too. They got a lot of athletes. They're all, a lot of them the same kids in Class C. A lot of foot speed. They got a couple of real big boys that are going to be playing across one of these guys right over here. And I'm talking real big boys. They like one's over 300 pounds, 6'6", over like 320 pounds or something. And those kids move pretty well too. So it's I mean, that's the way it is though. Once you get this far,
Sure.
I mean, everybody's tough. So
Everybody's
it's,
good.
Yep. So it's going to be a grandiose.
So good luck to you. I'm really excited. I'm happy to see all you guys back in it too. We just not for anything, but we did the ME football and the UE football now. So you guys got to keep winning.
Basically, what's
we
happened
got a good thing going.
Yeah.
We're a good luck charm.
between Sonny and I and the conversations we've had, from CBA on the show to CNS to Maine Endwell, Union Endicott, and Chenango Forks, we have this thing that, like, if you're a part of Wake Up Call / Sonny and D, if you're a part of anything that we've done this year, we have championship coaches on. So I think it's like that's what we need to do now. Is like I think we might have a jam-packed schedule, Sonny, going into next season because we have a good record. So we're getting you toward the end of the season. You handled business and did what you had to do, but you are more than welcome to come on whenever you'd like to. And of course, to have your brother Tim here. I think what's so amazing to have you both on. And Tim, I know you're working, and like you said, from what last year to this year, and the improvements you've seen, and then for Chenango Forks to still be playing right now, it's something really special. And to me, it's kind of like we're doing this live now, but this is a time capsule. Because as brothers, to be able to sit next to each other, be in the same community line, so to speak, and to be able to both be coaches and both be leading young men and whatnot. I mean, this is a pretty incredible opportunity that I would think your parents and your family very proud of, to see the fact that you guys get to do this together and kind of teach each other and be a part of it. So I think the rarity of it is really remarkable, and I think it's incredible. And I thank you both so much for being here, because this is something that you guys get to take with you. Sonny and I selfishly get to do this, so it's fun for us.
Thank you very much. Had a lot of fun and really appreciate you having us.
So with that being said, because I did something so kind, now we're going to put you on the hot seat. so you're going to get one question from both Sonny and I. Tim, you're going to get a question from Sonny and I, and then you get to come back at us with it as well. Sonny, I'll defer to you. You can ask each of these gentlemen a question.
All right, Tim, if you had the ability to send your brother anywhere, pleasant, I hope, anywhere in the world, where would you send him?
Or the state finals this year.
Oh,
That's
man.
where I want him to go again.
That's a good
to
brother.
the dome. You gotta
That's
go
a
to
good
the dome
brother.
again, right?
You could have sent him to Italy. You could have sent him to Australia.
Yeah.
We're going back to
He's
Syracuse for
gotta
the
go to
finals.
the dome. I
That's-
figure if he gets another ring, maybe I'll get one of them from him. He's
All
running
right,
his
that's
fingers.
awesome. All right, Dave, I'll ask you this question. All right, if you could go anywhere at any point in time after the season, I had to do that. After the season, if you could go anywhere, anytime, where would you want to go and why?
Alaska. I think it's just
Really?
honest to God, I would.
What's with Alaska?
I think maybe I'd wait till the summertime. It's on my bucket list. It's pretty high on my bucket list. I've tried to go, and a couple things fell through. But yeah, I want to go to Alaska too, just like one of the Windsor boys did.
Pretty cool. Okay, I would have never guessed that.
Now you can both ask one to Sonny, and then I'll take my crack at it. So Dave, go ahead. What do you got for Sonny?
How many points did you score at Syracuse basketball?
How many points in my career?
Yeah.
Three less than Lawrence Moten.
Oh yeah.
Next
no.
question.
Probably, I'm gonna say maybe 300. It's probably in that number, 300-400.
I do remember you playing there.
Yeah.
So.
It may be more, maybe less. I don't really know. But thanks.
I'm stealing your question.
Okay.
You can go anywhere you want in the world.
I can go anywhere I want.
And I'm talking tomorrow. You can just jump on a plane, go
All right.
wherever you want
no
to go,
problem.
and why.
I could leave. All right. I would probably go to Italy. Unlike, I know you want to go to the Dome, and I know you want to go to Alaska, but I want to go to Italy because the food is amazing. The lifestyle is just off off the chains. Just that they take siestas, they eat dinner, they have no stress in their life. Everybody, the only problem is everybody smokes and wears glasses, but it's you can eat till you just can't move, but you never feel overly full and you don't gain any weight. It's an amazing place. And any part of it, you can send me anywhere over there in a heartbeat. Tomorrow, you said?
Yeah, it's my
All right, Tim, you got the mic, so I'll go first to you for this. We talked about travel, so we'll go somewhere else with this. Since you're a movie guy, top 3 movies of all time.
Joe Dirt got robbed. They should have won every award out there.
Joe
Okay.
Dirt. Huh?
Joe Dirt?
That's number 1.
Those are some of the things that I throw at these guys. They don't even know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I watched.
That's not a bad. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I've watched Rudy so many times. I'm a Notre Dame fan.
Okay.
You know, if I'm flipping through the channels, I have to stop and watch from wherever it is, and I don't know why the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Whenever you're whipping through the channels, and it doesn't matter where I'm at. You know, you just pick it up from there, and you watch the rest of it. I don't know why.
See, I have a thing where I own the DVD, but if it's on there's certain, and I don't know why. Transformers, the third one, Dark of the Moon. I don't know why. Whenever it's on FX, I have to watch it, even though it's got commercials on, and I own the DVD without commercials. And then when they do an encore after, I'm like, I'll watch the beginning at least. I don't know. There's certain movies I can't not see, but I will not watch one of my favorites of all time. I love Jim Carrey. I will not watch Liar Liar on television because they do that, like they dub over his voice, and when he swears, they make it something else. And the person that does the voice sounds nothing like him, and it's embarrassing. So that one I will not watch, but I don't know why. Transformers, I religiously. Sound of Music because of my mom. Wizard of Oz, stuff like that.
Do you have a quote from Shawshank that these guys don't know what's from Shawshank?
Get busy living or get busy,
Get busy
dying.
dying.
There
Yeah.
you go. I like that. That should be one you guys
have
know,
you guys
though.
seen that? You haven't seen that?
You have to watch.
You gotta watch.
Do you know who Morgan Freeman is?
All right.
Thank God. Okay.
There's one.
All right, my question for Dave Hogan. All right, Dave, you know what success is like on the field. What do you think is your most successful moment off the field?
Well, I'd like to think that I'm a pretty good father.
Okay.
He is absolutely 110%.
Yeah. So I think my kids would say that anyway.
Can we shout out your children? Go ahead, shout them out.
David? Yep. David and Mira.
David and Mira.
Adopted them from Guatemala.
And that's really awesome and a very small world. My cousin Miguel was adopted from Guatemala City. So, and he was taken from foster care, really bad situation. At that point, there was fighting that was happening there. He was a baby, and they didn't have the means to give him like milk and things that he needed, like nutrients. So they were feeding him coffee, and so his like head was not like developing properly and whatnot. Now he's one of the smartest, kindest, healthiest people, like that he should be. He honestly should be a president or ambassador. So I think that's really cool that you adopted them from Guatemala. Thank you for doing that, because people don't know just how incredible and how difficult it can be to go through the process, but it's a beautiful thing.
And do it again in a heartbeat.
Get me all emotional over here. I'm asking these questions, getting all teary-eyed. All right, Dave, what's your question for me? It's amazing.
If I knew more about you, I would this would be easier. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Said, you want to get into acting? You've done some acting and stuff.
I've done. I was in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 as an extra that actually
Nice.
made the movie. I got paid, which was cool. But I'm in the chase scene with Paul Giamatti's character.
Okay, so here's my question: you get to work with any actor or actress.
Yeah.
You're gonna pick one, and then you're gonna tell us why.
Okay. I will pick one actor. I'll pick one actress. If I could work with any actress, it'd be Jennifer Aniston. Had a crush since I was younger.
Why?
Why? Crush. Yeah. So, and then I would say, if I had any actor I could work with, this is tough. I think I would like to work with Robert De Niro, but he's just kind of gone off the rails a little bit. Maybe like De Niro of the past, but if he was alive, hands down, without question, I just wanted to spend a day with Robin Williams because, like, I've done impressions since I was 3. There's all these things that I really love to do and I love to work on. So I would just love to sit in a room with him and pick his brain because I think that, I don't know, I think he was such an incredible mind. And people don't really know what happened at the end of his life. And I would say, if you do have the chance to go on HBO and watch the documentary about his life and the sickness that he was diagnosed with before he passed away, it's really sad, but it shows you that Robin was not really Robin anymore. And that's kind of heartbreaking. But what he did for this world, I started watching when I was 4, like Mrs. Doubtfire, and the first ever live action anything I ever watched was Mork and Mindy. And I just got the DVDs for it a couple of years ago because I wanted to watch it again. But when he passed away, I was in an Applebee's parking lot in North Syracuse. I pulled in, I parked, and the person that told me paused and was like, "Are you okay?" Because to me, he was like Uncle Robin. Because my whole life, that's all I knew was his comedy, and I watched all of his stuff. So I think I got more emotional over that than some people that I know was, Robin Williams. So I'd love to spend a day with him for sure. All right, Dave, what do you got for me?
All right, if you could spend a day with any athlete in the whole wide world, who would it be? And why?
Wow. Well, I'm going to tell you that I got to spend more than a day with one of the greatest athletes. Over here we have little waterworks emotions going on because
sorry.
No, it's okay. But I think Sonny knows this from some of the stuff I did. But the person that I got to spend more than one day with and almost 10 years of a friendship here on Earth is somebody that I always called him. It was like shaking hands with a ghost because to me he was a legend. Like, how could he be alive? How could I meet him? How could I talk to him? And that's one of my closest friends, greatest friends, one of my biggest inspirations, and one of the people that doesn't know that he was a part of the start of my business because of what he said to me at the time he said it, and that's Floyd Little. Floyd changed my life continuously, and he will continue to do that. And I just got to see his wife, Deborah, at one of the games, and the hug that she gave me when I got to whisper in her ear about, like, the last time I saw them and everything, she's just... I'm a firm believer that somehow Floyd's spirit and her spirit are in her, and what they're going to do is incredible. Floyd will live on forever. So, Floyd Little, without question. Number 2, Sonny Spirit. No, but Sonny and I, in all seriousness, Sonny's done a lot to change my life for the better, too.
I can't carry Floyd's gym bag.
So with that being said, I don't want to end this because there's so much we could talk about, but we'd love to have you back on again. Tim Hogan here of Windsor, Dave Hogan of Chenango Forks, Sonny Spira, myself, Dan Tortora for Sonny and D, a product of Wake Up Call here at Progressive Dental. We have one more set coming up, and that is the fact that a trio that have been speaking, laughing, critiquing, who's been on air, now they're going to be on air. You're going to hear from Chenango Forks right after this. Stay tuned, everybody.